You turn a $10 free bet into 200 and spend the next 5 years trying to win back money you never actually had. Level 1, the free bet prince. You are usually 18 to 24, maybe in college, maybe just working your first real job, and the whole thing starts looking weirdly harmless. A friend sends you a referral link. A sports betting app offers a bonus. You verify your identity in 30 seconds, tap a few boxes, and suddenly your phone makes gambling feel like ordering takeout. No smoky casino, no sad horse track. Just a clean screen, bright odds, and a little green number that jumps when your team scores. You believe this is entertainment with upside. $50 here, $10 there. You say stuff like, I only bet what I can afford to lose. Then a ridiculous parlay hits. Maybe it is $200, maybe $400. Maybe you turn a promotional bet into rent money for 1 month and your brain logs the wrong lesson. Not that you got lucky, that you are kind of nice with it. This is the winning stage, and it is dangerous because nothing looks dangerous yet. The losses are small enough to laugh off. The wins are loud enough to screenshot. Group chat status becomes part of the reward. You are not chasing money yet. You are chasing the feeling of being early, clever, and just slightly chosen. The toolkit is simple. One app, one debit card, one favorite sport, one terrible understanding of probability. You think watching games means you understand games. You don't know yet that legal sports betting in the United States exploded after 2018, and the entire machine is built to make your first bet frictionless and your 100th bet automatic. Then a Sunday goes wrong, 3 picks lose by 1 possession, you reload just once because the late game is a lock. Now you have crossed the first invisible line. You are no longer gambling for fun. You are gambling to fix a feeling. That opens the next door. Level 2, the spreadsheet disciple. Now you are convinced the problem was not gambling. The problem was your process. So you get serious. You are 21, 26, maybe older, and your phone starts filling up with numbers, injury reports, weather, line movement, podcasts from guys with too much confidence, a subscription pick service for $30 or $50 a month, a little spreadsheet where you track units like you are running a hedge fund out of your bedroom. You stop saying dollars because units sounds disciplined, and discipline sounds professional. Your bankroll grows from casual money into real money. 1,000, 2,000, maybe 5,000. You tell yourself this is a managed roll, not spending. You start shopping lines across multiple apps. One offers minus 110, another offers minus 105, and that tiny difference makes you feel smarter than the public. Sometimes you are smarter than the public. That is the problem. A little competence is enough to keep you in the chair. This is the losing stage starting to dress itself up as expertise. You believe data will save you. You believe volume will smooth variance. You believe your edge is real because last month was green. You learn the hard way that even people who know what they are doing can still lose for long stretches. And most people doing this are not nearly as sharp as they think. Long term, only a small minority of gamblers actually profit. Depending on the market and the source, maybe 3 to 5%. Everybody else is paying tuition to the lesson they refuse to learn. The humiliations get quieter now. Not dramatic, just sticky. You miss a dinner because a West Coast game goes to overtime. You feel your mood swing with a missed free throw. You stop watching sports for the sport. Every possession has a price attached. Your girlfriend or your brother asks why you are grumpy, and you say work was annoying. It was not work. It was a $25 prop bet on rebounds. And then you discover the magic poison of the modern gambling era, live betting. The line updates every few seconds. You do not have to wait until tomorrow to be wrong again. You can be wrong 6 more times tonight. That turns you from a bettor into a machine operator. Level 3, the live bet zombie. The game is on mute. Your breathing is not. You are on the couch at 11:43 at night with 3 open apps, 1 streaming feed lagging by 7 seconds, and enough confidence to be dangerous. Your thumb refreshes odds during timeouts. You are no longer placing one thought-out wager. You are stitching together dozens of little emotional decisions at speed. Over total, next drive, player to score, team to cover alternate spread. You are not reading the game, you are reacting to pain. This is where chasing losses stops sounding like a warning and starts feeling like strategy. Down 300? Fine. Double the stake on the next one? Team goes cold in the first half? Great, they are due. You invent patterns because the alternative is admitting you are improvising with rent money. Brutal honesty, the more frantic your logic becomes, the more sophisticated it sounds in your own head. The money moves faster now. A few hundred can vanish in 1 quarter. One ugly weekend can cost $1,000 to $3,000. You tell yourself you were close, and close becomes your favorite lie. Almost had it. Bad beat. Ref job. Garbage time touchdown. Hook on the spread. The vocabulary of gambling is beautiful because it lets you narrate disaster as injustice. Your tools are no longer just apps. They are chargers plugged in beside the bed, secret account balances, split payment methods, and browser tabs explaining cash advances on a credit card. Like that is a normal thing a sane person should ever research. You start hiding transaction labels. Maybe you use an electronic wallet so bank statements look cleaner. Maybe you move money in pieces small enough that nobody asks. This is also where the social side changes. Casual friends stop being enough. You want people who understand this language? You find gambling group chats, pick sellers, fake geniuses, real obsessives, and one guy who always seems to know a market before it moves. He becomes your rival and your role model. You think, if I get sharper, I can get out of the hole. But the hole is teaching you the wrong lesson. It is teaching you that recovery is one heater away. So when sports are not enough anymore, you look for a format with more action, more control, more hands per hour. That door usually says poker. Level 4, the table philosopher. Now you want skill in the story? You sit in a 1-2 no-limit hold'em game at a local card room or casino and immediately feel superior to sports bettors because at least poker has decisions. There's a dealer, chips, bad coffee, and a regular in a hoodie stacking red chips with one hand like he was born tired. You buy in for $200 or $300 and tell yourself this is different. This is not gambling. This is advantage. To be fair, this is the first level where there can be a real edge. Some players do win, some grind out hourly profits, some study ranges, pot odds, bet sizing, position, and player pools with serious discipline, but you are not that player yet. You are the guy who watched 6 hours of strategy videos and now thinks folding is for civilians. The emotional trap here is nastier because your ego gets involved. In sports betting, the market beats you. In poker, another human beats you, slowly, in public. He value bets thin on the river. You hero call with one pair. He turns over the nuts. The dealer pushes your stack away and the table does not care. That indifference gets under your skin. You start to believe the problem is bankroll size. If you had more bullets, you could play better. If you moved up, players would respect your raises. If you played longer sessions, the math would catch up. This is where degenerate logic learns to wear a blazer. You talk about expected value while borrowing money for the cage. The money at this level starts getting stupid in a more adult way. Maybe you lose 500 here, 800 there, 2,000 in a bad month. Maybe you start swapping action, getting staked, or fronting entries to private games because everyone in the room is pretending this is temporary. You hear stories about people winning 5 figures in a night and owing 50,000 by spring. Those stories are not rare because high-stakes gambling attracts people who can survive embarrassment longer than they can survive arithmetic. Then a bigger temptation appears. The private game. Softer lineups. Rich recreational players. No casino rake on paper, maybe. More cash on the table. Less sunlight. You think you are moving up. You are actually moving deeper. Level 5. The private game ghost. You get the text at 8:15. Game tonight. Deep stacks. Good action. Now the setting changes from public to hidden. A rented back room. Somebody's condo. A cigar lounge after hours. An unmarked suite with one security camera and very selective memory. The chips are bigger, the money is looser, the drinks are free, and the way traps are free. At this level, status matters almost as much as results. Getting invited means you pass some test. You can lose without panicking. You can keep secrets. You can pretend a $4,000 swing is just part of the ecosystem. You start dressing calmer than you feel. You carry more cash than is reasonable for a person who still tells family members everything is fine. Your belief now is that one great night can solve the graph. Win 10,000, clear the card, reset the bank account, act normal again. But private games come with private problems. Maybe the lineup is not as soft as promised. Maybe the host takes a hidden cut. Maybe a guy gets favored because he brings whales. Maybe debts are remembered with supernatural clarity and winnings are paid with surprising delay. The tools here are envelopes, marker tabs, message threads that disappear, and your own ability to stay numb. You might have access to credit now. Not bank credit, gambling credit. A number written beside your name. Chips in front of you that are technically not money until they very much are. That psychological gap is lethal. People light through 5,000 faster when it does not feel like handing over 5,000. This is where lying becomes operational. You lie about where you were. You lie about why you need cash. You lie about the refund, the transfer, the delayed paycheck. You may not think of yourself as an addict because you are still functioning. You still go to work. You still answer texts. You still shower. Congratulations. So do a lot of people in the middle of a collapse. And once debt's into the room, the next level is inevitable, because now you are not playing to win. You are playing because you owe. Level 6. The Debt Acrobat. The phone buzzes before breakfast and your stomach drops before you even read it. Now the numbers are no longer abstract. 2 credit cards near the limit, a personal loan, borrowed money from a friend you have started avoiding. Maybe a bookmaker balance if you drifted from legal apps into offshore sites or local credit betting. This is the desperation phase in its full ugly shape. The financial range gets wide here, but serious gamblers can burn through 10,000, 50,000, even into 6 figures if they have access to enough fuel. High-profile gamblers have carried debts in the tens or hundreds of thousands while still walking around like normal human beings. That is one of the scariest parts. Catastrophe can look weirdly ordinary from the outside. You become a technician of cash flow, minimum payment due dates, balance transfer offers, payroll advance apps, pawn values, what a watch is worth, what a console is worth, whether you can get away with borrowing from the joint account and putting it back after next weekend. The brain gets creative when shame becomes a full-time job. You believe one score fixes everything, a same-game parlay, a tournament run, a heater at Baccarat, a monster weekend of football. This is the mythology of the degenerate gambler. Recovery is always one bet away, and that belief survives hundreds of bets specifically because it is never tested honestly. If the score comes, you keep playing. If it misses, you need another shot. Either way, the system wins. The emotional cost gets harder to hide. Sleep goes bad. Work performance slips. You are at your desk checking lines. You are in the bathroom checking results. You snap at people who did nothing wrong because your mind is balancing 10 invisible fires. Family pressure enters the story here. A partner notices money missing. A parent asks why you seem fried all the time. Your answer is always almost true, which is its own special kind of rot. And then the final professionalization of degeneracy appears. You stop pretending this is a hobby. This becomes your identity. You call yourself a gambler like it is a trade. That leads to the hardest room of all. Level 7. The full-time mirage. You decide to do it seriously. That sentence ruins people. Maybe you quit a job. Maybe you reduce hours. Maybe you tell yourself you are taking one season to prove it. Now your rent, food, and self-respect are somehow tied to outcomes in markets that are brutally efficient and emotionally destabilizing. You build routines. Wake up, lines, notes, markets, coffee, no distractions. It almost looks like real work from a distance. This level does exist for a tiny number of people. There are disciplined poker professionals and very selective bettors who can grind an edge, but they are rare, usually more boring than the fantasy allows, and almost never operating like the people who call themselves degenerates. The actual degenerate full-timer is living inside a mirage. Every lucky month confirms the dream. Every losing month feels temporary. The graph is always about to turn. You start talking like an operator, return on investment, closing line value, market efficiency, overlay. You may genuinely know these ideas. Knowledge is not the same as control. Plenty of smart gamblers are still compulsive gamblers. Gambling disorder is recognized as a behavioral addiction for a reason. Your brain can understand the trap and still volunteer for it every morning. Money at this stage gets surreal because both outcomes are large. A great month can be 5,000, 10,000, maybe more. A bad month can erase a year of honest work and then some. Income is feast or famine, but the bills are monthly and boring. That mismatch crushes people. Landlords do not care about bad beats. This is also where isolation peaks. Regular friends disappear because your schedule is weird and your mood is worse. Every conversation bends back toward action, odds, beats, edges, or debt. You are in rooms full of gamblers and somehow lonelier than ever. You have become highly fluent in a language that cannot solve your life. Sooner or later, reality collects. A maxed account, a relationship ending, a panic attack, a call from someone you owe. Or worse, just the dead quiet of realizing you have built your entire emotional system around uncertainty and screens. Then you hit the bottom level, which is less dramatic than movies and more terrifying because it is so plain. Level 8. The empty screen. It is 3 in the morning and there are no more bets left to place. This is the hopeless phase, not because there are no games on, but because the spell finally breaks for a second and you see the shape of what happened. The account history. The withdrawals from savings, the lies told in ordinary voices, the birthdays half attended, the weekends vaporized. The object in your hand is still just a phone, but it now feels like a shovel. For some people, this level includes bankruptcy. For some, criminal behavior. Stolen money from work, forged stories, borrowed funds that were never really borrowable. For others, it is quieter and still devastating. Depression, panic, relationship collapse, suicidal thoughts, severe gambling problems are strongly associated with mental health crises, and that is not melodrama. It is one of the reasons this subject stops being funny once you get close enough. The hard lesson here is brutal. The next win was never going to save you because the winning was never the point anymore. The point had become escape, then identity, then anesthesia. You did not lose control all at once. You rented it out in tiny pieces, and this is the only level where a different door can open. Self-exclusion from apps and casinos, bank blocks on gambling transactions, therapy, often cognitive behavioral therapy, Gamblers Anonymous, telling one honest person the real number, not the cleaned up number, the real one. Maybe it is 4,000, maybe 40,000, maybe more. The amount matters. The honesty matters more. There is no glamorous endgame here, no championship belt, no shop sale, no legend status. The closest thing to mastery is becoming boring again, paying debt slowly, watching sports without a bet attached, rebuilding trust one statement, one paycheck, one normal Friday night at a time. Final beat. You started with a free $10 that felt like found money, and if you are lucky, the win at the end is learning how to hold a phone without it holding you.